geez, I think it's in one of the. I'm reading this book on poetry, and I think it was in there about how animals. You know, if you look at animals, they don't struggle against what they are. You know, there's just like a squirrel's just a squirrel. It gathers nuts. It runs around in the trees. It mates. It goes and gets more nuts. Like it's just straightforward. And humans are that seem to be the only animal on the planet that questions its own existence and questions sort of its way of being in the world. Um,
Right.
and I think part of that is simply because we get trapped in our thought systems, believing that the thought systems and the whole thought structure and the thinking brain is sort of what we are,
So
and that
true.
life is some kind of a puzzle, and if we can just figure it out, then we'd be happy, right? It's that whole if then, that if I can do this, then that will happen. Um, and one of the things that we seem to have lost, particularly in our modern Western culture, is this simple presence of being in life. The simplest sort of thing is just us just being together, human, just being ourselves. We often come up against, that word should, that is such a bugger. I should be this, I should not be that. And it's just all this, what if you just really embraced exactly what and who you are as you are right now?
Oh,
You just allow.
it'd be life-changing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so too.
there's so much judgment, Harold. It's just um, it's constant. Should is just it's a nice word that points to just how much we judge ourselves. Um, and that's really like you said, dude. Like the squirrel or the you know the animals. They don't say, okay, this is how I'm doing things, and I'm a terrible squirrel for that.
I should have gathered those nuts into more of a cylindrical shape in the tree than
Yeah,
the
and
haphazard.
and had I done that, things would be going better for me. I'd I'd be happier. And you know, it's so funny because it's just the opposite, right? It's in our not getting our own way that we are free to just be, ourselves. Be just be, and
It's like
and
there's no.
yeah,
It's
you don't need
just be.
anything after that. You don't need to add anything to that. And because it's really just the lack of judgment, the lack of that weight or that beating ourselves up or that judgment that um, we don't really need to do anything in addition to not doing that. we just it's just we do it all the time, all day, every day. Um, and we don't know it largely. A lot of it's unconscious. Um, but it's really so simple that they're real. It's really just our thinking, right? And but it's resistance thinking, right? It's thinking, putting up a fight with our thinking, right? Like here's what is. I think we've talked about that in a previous show. Um, I'm sure we have, but here's what is, and then I'm going to fight like hell against it because I've got some preconceived notion about how things are supposed to be or how I'm supposed to be in this case, right? I'm supposed to be better. I'm supposed to be funnier. I'm supposed to be more confident. I'm supposed to uh, be smarter. You know, the list goes on, right? I'm supposed to be less shy. I'm supposed to be, a better athlete or better student. There's all these things that we've judged ourselves against, um, and that's a very serious thing, right? Because we're essentially saying, I'm not good enough, Harold. And I know you and I have had, probably in our very first show, we talked about that ongoing conversation for pretty much every human being I've ever met. We all have some version of the I'm not good enough conversation. And that's a very serious, very heavy conversation. And it's really the only obstacle to our peace, I think. And if we could just learn to recognize that it's there, first of all, and it's not true.